Hello and welcome to another TCOS update from Force 13 Xtra. Pretty soon, I don't think it's going to happen just yet, but I just want to give everyone a heads up on this, that the TCOS updates will be moving eventually completely off of Force 13 media and onto my personal channel, which if you just search my name, Nathan Foy, you will see my personal channel. Usually full of random nonsense, but that's where TCOS will be in the future. I don't think it will be immediately, but I just want to give you the heads up on that it is coming pretty soon. Now on to today's regularly scheduled TCOS. There wasn't one yesterday, and I think I forgot to change the date even on the last one that we did, so that is incorrect, because it was a 10:30 p.m. update on the 17th, if I'm not mistaken, and this obviously is going to be a 10:30 p.m. update on the 19th tonight. So 2 days have elapsed since the last update. A lot surely will have changed. Let's have a look. This is the Atlantic right now, and as you go through it, it really shows nothing notable. There is that little system there later on in the run, which actually is a little bit interesting, but from what we've seen already before, that is not going to become anything, as we've seen those kinds of false alarms before. I'm just trying to get the satellite imagery working, and it's just this moment decided it's going to stop. So that's really just amazing. Okay, because I want to look at current satellite imagery to tell us about what's going on in the Eastern Pacific, because recently we've been seeing that possibility for a cyclone of sorts to appear. Well, there it is, and it is now visible on satellite imagery. A surface low has developed on that GFS run of 1006 low, and look at that. That's 12-18 hours that it gets more circular, although you look at the run there, doesn't look great. It does look frontal there still, and I don't think it's going to detach from that front now. It's going to be close, but by the time that happens, you see it there on the simulated satellite imagery, there's hardly anything left for it to call it anything. So I'm not convinced that that's going to happen. But nonetheless, a fascinating feature that goes down to 1005. Doesn't look anywhere, let's concede, it doesn't look anywhere as good on the models that it looked a few days ago. And, you know, that's how it happens, isn't it? As far to my knowledge, they're not saying anything on the tropical discussion. Just looking at that right now. They are talking about a vigorous mid to upper level low. They're not talking about, well, they're talking about it deepening, gale force winds, but they're not talking anything. They've not mentioned the word subtropical or tropical at all. However, I still maintain there is an extremely marginal chance that something could come of this. In fact, where is it? Oh, it's that one, sorry. So we will still give that one a chance, although it's going to be a very low one. And, you know, I appreciate it doesn't look as good, and it will most likely be scrubbed before long. We'll call it there. 1006 millibars, 21 north, 133 west. And it stays at 10%. Because it was actually already 10%. I had it in my mind for some reason it was 20 or something, but there we go, staying at a low chance, and that chance is not going to increase. Western Pacific then, some large extratropical lows there, out to sea. We are got our eyes on a system that may form later on at the end of week 1. That moves through the Philippines, but as you can see there, it's fairly weak. But looking at it, I think it is enough to designate a 10% now. first visible really at that point, and that's at hour 78. So that's something that I'm going to mark now as well. This is going to be J1. We are still in the month of January. We're only just reached 2/3 through, so there's still quite a bit to go yet. Feels like it's gone on for quite a while this month. So that's our next one. Inputting the formulas. And the location for that will be at 4 north, 133 east, a future system. And it heads for the Philippines, hits on hour 120. Philippines gets a lot of regional points considering how interested the people are there and how much they watch our coverage. But despite that, the number isn't particularly high, 19. Over to the Indian Ocean. Goodness knows what's going to happen in this basin in the next 2 weeks. Let's be completely honest. We haven't got a clue because models have shifted from one on the west being the dominant system to the middle one to the right one, and now it's the middle one again, which is the one we initially designated, and there isn't even a western system on the latest run, but runs have been all over the place. GFS had one, in fact an earlier run from today, it had 3 storms reaching 950 millibars within 48 hours of each other, and one of them hitting Australia. As you can see now, it's absolutely completely changed once again, so who knows, something's going to happen in the Indian Ocean and we're going to have to do our best with this. But let's go with the obvious, which is that low there, which is already there on the surface, and that's the one that we had marked at 40%. So that is at 13 south at 59 degrees east, and that is now a white text because that is now a current system, and it's messing about trying to get that information through. Just wait. For some reason it takes a long time for it to change color, and there it is at last. Where's my screen gone? Yes, so what happens next? Well, anyone's guess, but GFS they're going with, and as to be honest, the ensembles had this a little bit before the master model went with this, so credit to those ensembles. Let's see what they're saying now. And yes, actually, that is now good ensemble agreement. Whether it hits Madagascar or not, there is still some uncertainty there, because one or maybe 3 or 4 ensembles go for a strong recurve. But, you know, I think we're pretty satisfied that it's going to get pretty close to Madagascar. Let's say it makes landfall. It would be in 90 hours. So F1, landfall in 90 hours at an intensity of borderline hurricane. Is that the peak intensity? It's probably a bit stronger before it hits land. Don't know if that's an eyewall replacement or something. So, you know, and that is going to yield a score of 17, which somewhat bafflingly is less than the 10% in the Western Pacific. And the percentage we will give that one, I mean, it's still a bit up in the air. So I wouldn't want to go much over 50%, and that's what I'm going to put that down to, 50%, which I really wouldn't stray any higher than that. The other system that you can see there in the central South Indian Ocean as well, that is something that GFS wants to form eventually, but I'm really not comfortable with giving that any percentage just yet. Although having said that, it seems to have been on TCOS last time, because I must be forgetting everything. I didn't even know we had that tagged. That is I1. So I guess I'll have to shut up on what I just said and just give it a 10%. But I'm not comfortable with the future of that system. 11 south, 80 degrees east. And I ain't even going to look at anything else to do with that. 2 points. Now, we saw in recent days the Australian system that was going to form Models backed off that 2 days ago, and they've still backed off, but eventually something comes out of this big mess on the latest GFS run. A tiny tropical cyclone over the Cape York Peninsula. That's interesting. It's the first time I've seen that. So let's see if that was their previous runs. Yes, it was. There's 12Z, so that's one run of consistency. Although you look at that, that had another cyclone there as well. So I'm not going to put much faith in that. The previous run, yeah, look at that. A system right on the other side. And the run before that, it's on the other side again. So much frustration in trying to figure out what's going to go on in the Australian region in the next 5 days. My God, what would you run with? This is a very difficult decision for any forecaster. Last we had it, it was a H1. It was a 10%, 8 south, 129 east. I guess let's check the ensembles. I mean, this is just whack. You look at the latest on ensemble. I mean, look at that. That's another big difference. So the parent model run is way over the right hand side of where any of the ensembles are, and the majority of them are still on the western side. This is just absolutely baffling. And some very strong ensembles, by the way. One of them's at 937, one's at 944, one's at 942. So very strong storm scenarios there. So I'm going to have to try and find the dots on where the initialization is on the ensembles, and it'll be around here, 9 degrees south, 130 degrees east. But I must tell you, that is completely baffling. I mean, I can't agree with the parent model after seeing all of that that's just going to happen without anything going on over there. It's baffling. And another one behind it in the longer range, so Southwest Pacific. Then let's see what that throws up. And I don't think we've got any other systems marked now. Now there is an interesting one, just a little thing there that tries to form. It was looking better yesterday on the model runs, not looking so good today, so I'm going to leave that off. And then long range, there's a system, but too long range. The Southeast Pacific, then again you've got those two lows which, you know, look pretty, but they're not going to be tropical status. And the good old South Atlantic has a good old lot of nothing, which I'm certainly pleased about. And is the Mediterranean getting any funny ideas? There is a strong low pressure that moves through Cyprus into Turkey there, but I don't think that has any tropicality to it whatsoever. And back in the good old UK, high pressure dominates for the next 2 weeks, so that means settled weather and pretty cold days ahead as well. But that is TCOS for now. Let's just get the latest demand factor, which I imagine isn't going to be much different. And that is currently standing, very much the same as what it was before. We must get to Cody as well, which is an extra tropical cyclone. Can we take that off now? Here's hoping. Or is it still traceable? Where's it gone? It's gone way down there. Way down off the screen. So I think we're going to have to look at the world map on this one. It's gone. Happy days, it's gone. So we can take Cody off that now as well. And that means that we are still code unclassified. We'll have another TCOS update probably tomorrow. I think it will be at the same time, 10:30 PM UTC. But until then, have a good night. And hold on a minute. There are some questions there, I think. I do, I'm always happy to take a couple of quick questions. In fact, none of them are really addressed to me, so I think we're all right there. But yeah, a lot of things changing right now, and goodness knows what's happening to Australia in the tropics in the next couple of weeks. But we'll be here, and I'll see you again tomorrow.